Let's hit record here and let's go to fish two here. Kind of slowly, let's find just a second. Let's kind of get going here a little bit. Let's see. Here's fish two. There's fish two. Where are you? Now that is weird. Okay, let me try it again. Okay, fish two. Enter the draft room. There we are. We entered the draft. Now we are on the clock. Here we go. Draft room. Share. Okay, here we go. So we are recording here, Dennis. Uh, we have Prescott, Love, Bijan, Neighbors, Higgins.
I
So
like that start.
yeah, yeah. Let's see here. We'll have another pick in about eight. So it's always good to check the quarterbacks. Just Geno's on the board, Cam Ward, Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones. So I'm not just gotta have any of those for our third. There are uh, pluses and minuses for all those being, but it's the third, so that, that's not bad. So I'm not, as I'm looking, I'm not inspired to go and get another quarterback right now. What are you thinking?
So in these leagues, you're only allowed three quarterbacks.
Right.
So the three teams that are between us and our next pick
Hmm.
all have two quarterbacks each.
Right.
Okay. And they really don't, like, one has only one, well, two of the three only have one running back. So I think they're going to go running back. I think they have to go running back here um, with their
So
next
we
picks.
should look, and of course, Connor, Swift, Pollard, Pacheco, and Aaron Jones. There's a nice little suite here. Various pros and cons amongst these, but I don't see anything that's scary. They all seem to be in that mix. So if we did Connor, I think we could definitely get his handcuff. I think
Yeah.
Pacheco, we could get his handcuff. Pollard, we could get his handcuff because his handcuff is injured. Swift, I'm not even sure I know who his handcuff is.
And I'm not sure the Bears know either at this
And
point.
Aaron Jones,
So,
I think everybody's kind of aggressive on his handcuff of Mason.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure we can cover both of those, but that so is anything exciting? I mean, the ADP would say Connor, but I'm not sold on that versus Pacheco or Pollard. I mean, I've been going Connor and Pacheco out of this group. That is, and then kind of Aaron Jones who be my third. I haven't picked up a lot of Swift or Pollard. Maybe that's my mistake, but that's kind of been, I would say, Connor, Pacheco kind of 50-50, and then Aaron Jones kind of 30%, and then 10% Swift and Pollard. And I have picked up Montgomery, so about 10% there. That's probably over 100%. But anyway, in fantasy football Twitter, everything's over 100%, right? Everything's above average and et cetera, et cetera. So, uh, in the fine tradition of all the experts out there, right? We go 110%. Anything inspiring you, or should we look at wide receivers?
Well, I'm looking at our situation now. Look at our roster again,
Okay.
and we're in a great shape because we've got two wide receivers that are just going to be automatic plays.
Yes,
I'm
we'll never set those two except on bye weeks.
and I'm
And
feeling
Bijan will
yeah,
never, I mean, we're
no,
not
no.
setting. In fact, I don't know when we would sit Love or Prescott either.
No, no, we're in a solid situation where all of these players are must starts for us in a
Of
super
course, this
flex
is best
situation.
balls. It's
It's
going to
best
be.
ball, so we don't have to think about the lineup,
Yeah.
but I still like to think about that in a even in a best ball tourney. I like to think in that time or that framework
Uh-huh.
of okay, who are likely to hit the board every week, and
Mhm.
there's no doubt that I mean we might end up with uh, the number one running back and the number one wide receiver. It's not that far fetched,
No.
and I think we've got two top 12 quarterbacks.
Yes.
And then Higgins is that kind of guy that's a great best ball play because he can
Uh-huh.
have those spike weeks. And that's where here I would be so uh, I don't see a reason to go away from Connor with this pick. I think we're getting actually pretty good value with Connor at this point in the draft. I mean, we're
Mhm.
we're talking, uh, you know, basically we are talking pick. What would that be? 69, and we're getting the 67th player. We're not reaching for him. We're not getting a huge value, but James Conner, the last 3 years in a row, has been a is as consistent as you would like when he is starting, and it is easy to add Benson later on and to have all the wide or all the running back points from Arizona. And I think that offense is going to be pretty decent. So I
Liking
look,
Con.
yeah, I like
I,
Connor.
I will mention the metrics. You have estimated him as a 95,
Yes,
which is good. That's on that cusp of a one
correct.
and a two. I like his com score. That's his best score, 75. Uh, that's a strong data telling us he's going to have a lot more weeks. He's above median than many. So, and the Bush LR 71, you got him as a 63 as well, a little lowest. So, but my two numbers give him in the 70s, and that's for this area here. That's pretty good for uh, you know uh, running backs. I mean, Swift is an 80, your estimate, and I got him in the 40s and 50s.
Yes.
So I got a 20-point drop between Connor and Swift, say, which is not something that, in other words, I don't see anything to walk away from Connor there. I will note Pacheco's 85, which is not bad. So, like I said, that's been my top two right in there, Dennis, and that's in line with your estimates for this year. So whatever reason you and I have been in this spot here in the 80s, well, Connor's kind of 67. It's like they've left him a little bit. So he's been underwhelmed or people have not been picking him up. So I think it's to our advantage to grab Connor. But I did want to mention Pacheco. He did, he could fit into this group and certainly is superior to Swift and Pollard, in my opinion. If Connor was gone, I would be talking Pacheco here of
Yeah, and,
those.
and and here's the other rationale on this pick. Like
Mhm.
so at running back, if we were to take a running back right now, I think Connor is the play.
Yeah.
But the alternative is, let's assume that the teams behind us
Mm-hmm.
are going to take the third quarterback here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the quarterbacks, and I'll show you a little slight dilemma that we have.
Yeah. Let's see here. So the quarterback,
So assume that 3 are gone from
right?
this list.
Yeah. I
And
see. Can't pick up Ward because of the
yeah,
bye week.
well, see, I'm not too worried about the bye weeks.
Okay. Aaron
Um,
Rodgers is 5.
yeah, I'm not too worried about the bye weeks here
Uh-huh.
because that would be, we'd have 1 week of Prescott, basically, is what
Mm-hmm.
we would be looking at as our only, I'm sorry, Jordan Love as our only quarterback in week 10
Mm-hmm.
if we took Cam Ward. I'm not too concerned about the bye week situation because we'll still have a viable starting quarterback
Mm-hmm.
in Love, and we should have enough plug and plays at other positions.
Right.
So the question is, do we go safe? In my opinion, there's only 2 safe quarterbacks left on this list,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Geno Smith and Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only 2 that I really feel are a guarantee to start all the games this year. I'm worried about Stafford's health. I'm worried about Darnold being pushed by the rookie, Milrow, who's not ready. But if Seattle gets off to a bad start, then they might just, go and see how good the rookie is to see if they need a quarterback next year. Rodgers is a statue. I don't think the Pittsburgh offensive line got much better, and that may be an issue. Daniel Jones and Richardson are going to be splitting the quarterback weeks. Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart are going to be splitting the quarterback weeks. So the 2 strategies,
And do
if
you
we
think Flacco is not with
Flacco's a
Sanders?
placeholder. Flacco's a placeholder. They'll replace him with either Gabriel or Sanders, and it's possible all 3 see starts. And the same thing with Tyler Shuck
So
and
if
Rattler.
we don't take a quarterback, odds
We're
are
going to be,
we're going to
yes.
be in a bind to pick our third.
So we don't need that. We're not in a situation. We're in a week 5 is our first bye week.
Right.
Okay. So we're in that situation where none of the alternative quarterbacks after Ward and Geno
Mm-hmm.
make any sense here. Geno, how does Geno do with the com data?
Well,
Where does he
let's,
rate?
yeah, let's, and just something else, Dennis. Eh, So another way to think about it is, do we play defense by grabbing one of those and let 2, 3 other folks get the halftime quarterback? What
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
described to me sounds like the suite is set up for halftime. You get them maybe 8 weeks at best, some of them, maybe
yeah,
worse.
yeah. And our problem is like if our bye weeks for our quarterbacks were, let's say, 10 and 12 or 10 and 14 or 12
Mhm.
and 14, whatever, if they were after week 10,
Mhm.
I'd roll the dice on Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart's going to take over as the Giants starter, but I don't think it's going to happen until we're 5 or 6
Well,
games in.
well, let me
And
say
that's,
this. So that might be our pick for if we take Connor, then
if we
we,
take,
yeah.
yeah, if we take Connor, then we come back with another running back or wide receiver,
Yeah,
and
I'm
we
not
and
saying
we
Dart.
let
Yeah.
we let the draft fall and see who's left over. And if that means taking Wilson, because Wilson probably would be the starter week 5 when we need one, um, but might not be the starter by week 10 when we need Prescott replaced. I'm I'm very tempted to go Geno Smith here. We get 3 different bye weeks, and the only reason I would say that might have some effect here is because you have Dak and Jordan Love who both have histories of injuries recently.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
Gino is about a 50 on com. So he's a 50. Just to let you know, and I don't know how many games I got this data, Sam Darnold last year, and I don't think he played full time, but the time he did, he was a 75. And that is,
Darnold was full time with Minnesota last year and did so
well,
well.
I'm just
But
saying he did
yeah,
great compared
yeah.
to
I'm
everybody else.
I'm just wondering if if that was a system, Viking
Uh-huh.
system thing.
Uh-huh.
And now with Seattle, although with Seattle, you got, Kingsbury as the OC, and he's been known to create some fantasy goodness as well. Yeah, our dilemma is Geno's the safe pick. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to go safe or do we want to go bold? If we want to go bold at quarterback, I would go Cam Ward, even with the dual bye weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hope Jordan Love stays healthy on week 10, and that's the only time we're in jeopardy is one week.
I think Ward's gone by our next
Oh,
pick.
Ward's gone by our next pick. There's no doubt.
So I'm having I'm having trouble seeing that reach versus something like Connor. To me, Connor is the safer play. In
Yes.
other words, that cements quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. Then we're just talking flex and tight end at some point.
Yes. And that's Connor is the safe play. And the question is, do we want to go safe in a tournament situation? And the one thing I'll say though is Connor is the last of the guys. Like there's no other running backs left at this point who have a history of 100 as for more than one season in MVP, and he's done it the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to the point where you're saying, well, maybe that's not such a safe pick. That's a high reward pick at this
Mm-hmm.
level. Yeah, Connor is the obvious play for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it, here's the question. So look at the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Would we be comfortable to roll the dice with only 2 quarterbacks or 2 reliable quarterbacks and a wish cast of a guy who might be there at the key times? So here's the thing. If our team is really solid with Prescott, Love, Robinson, Connor, Neighbors, Higgins, assuming we get a good value tight end or a couple
Mm-hmm.
tight ends that put together a good season. If our starting lineup is really good, we should make it to the playoffs in the tournament setup,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
In the tournament setup, if we have a wild card quarterback like a Jackson Dart who could come on at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
then we are gold. So I think Connor's the play.
Yeah.
I even with the risk at quarterback, I think Connor is the play because he solidifies that lineup for us.
Yeah.
And look at what's left. Swift has a question mark, Pollard has a question mark, Pacheco has a question mark. Jones has several question marks. Now, the interesting thing is, next time on the turn, we might have a Montgomery or a Johnson available to us. And
Yeah,
those
those
guys would be,
bows, yeah,
yeah.
they have some upside to them.
So I think those guys will fall to the next round. And look at the wide receiver setup, and I'll show you who's going to fall down there. So we've got an interesting wide receiver setup because there are some guys like Ridley, Jamison Williams, Devonta Smith, who are
And
absolutely
Waddle,
fabulous, fabulous.
a
Waddle,
bouquet,
a bouquet. Those guys, we're deep. Look at Rashi Rice, has
Rice
dropped all
there,
the way to 95.5.
which
So
is
it,
sweet.
it's sweet. So we've got a lot of wide receivers that can fill out those flex scoring positions. I'm not worried about wide receiver at all. And if you look at tight end,
We're
there's some
still
juicy,
yeah, there's
juicy
still,
tight end being
yeah,
pushed.
there's no
Yeah.
reason to spring into action on.
No, no, I think we're good there, especially in a best ball. In a best ball, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
mind.
I would like us to target Ferguson to
Yes.
stack with
Oh
Prescott.
yeah. Yeah, if we could go
I
Ferguson,
mean, imagine
let's say
Kraft
we
and
get Kraft
Ferguson.
Ferguson. Yeah.
Kraft
Yeah.
and can you imagine a double stack there?
Yeah. I think that's a great strategy, and I think it's a great concept of double stacking at tight end
Hmm.
at these values. They're
Yeah,
incredible values.
yeah,
So I think that's possible, very possible too.
yeah,
So I see Connor, and I'm like, man, he should be the guy
yeah,
that should be the easy pick here.
yeah. And just to step outside for folks listening in our pre-show, one of the reasons I love slow drafts is because when you have somebody like Dennis for me, who is a great soundboard and he thinks differently, and we go through this process. We probably, if we have a sin, Dennis and I, we probably don't do enough of this
Yes.
because by the time we're done, it's almost like, well, yeah, Connor. In other words, if we just started now with everything we now have heard, Connor just slap is like a fish. The old fish slap dance from Monty Python. You just slap in the head, say, well, of course it's Connor. But
Yeah.
it's of course it's Connor because we've teased out all the other things and made some thinking about what we're going to do next time, the time after. In other words, there's little mini plans on our journey. We're not, I understand the top down, but we're kind of in the middle here. We're not bottom, but we're not just completely top. But we've got some ideas and things, and it takes longer than 30 seconds and 20 seconds. I don't know how people do that because if you've got a 20 draft and you got 20 seconds, I just don't know how you can be so thoughtful because with the better than zero, the adaptive part of that is you got to kind of think a little bit to figure it out. Adaptive assumes you've got time to be adaptive
Yes.
and to be thoughtful. And Dennis, that's why I mean I understand people do live drafts and that's great. But I don't like to do it unless I gotta. And so anyway, but just I've noticed the level that we just talked about. Is anybody doing that? I mean, when I'm no offense to anybody at the expo, none of them thought like that. None of them teased it like multiple possibilities and thing. They were just, I'm doing this pick now because this next. It it seems shallow, Dennis, and
It
that maybe is harsh. And I know these are sharp folks, and I'm not saying, because I think when you put yourself on a panel, you're almost following what everybody else is doing, and it's not real. In other words, I don't think
Yeah.
what we see
Yeah.
up there is, come on, is really real. Really? Really?
Well,
No.
there's bold takes that you can make.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I could say Jadon Blue could be a top 10 running back. And I'm not, and here's the thing is I'm not saying that blindly.
Mhm.
I have data that could back this up. But if you said to me, okay, I'll bet you $5
Yeah.
it at even money
Uh-huh.
that you're going to be wrong.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't take that bet at even money.
No.
Okay. Do I think that's possible? Yes. What odds would I like on that bet?
Yeah.
That he'd be a top, let's say a top 12. He'd be one of your top starters in fantasy football on a weekly value now. I'm not talking total points. I'm talking weekly value, and I'm talking, when it matters during the season.
Yeah.
So if he didn't start the first 4 or 5 weeks, he could still be that top 12 value through the bulk of the season for me, meaning he starts 10 plus games and finishes with an MVP that's 110 or greater. That's what I'm saying is possible. I would want 7 or 8 to 1
Yeah.
on my bet
When you
to make
think
that
with
bet.
probabilities, it becomes different. I'm telling you,
Correct.
everybody, those panels should have $100. Bob
Yes.
Long should sit up here. Okay, how much you want to bet? You know, your pick is really real here. How much you betting here of your bankroll? That,
Yeah.
I know they do the auction, but that's still fake money. If you
That's a
do
little
a real
different. Yeah.
auction with real money and make that go to the pot, I'm telling you, these so-called auctions would really change.
Yes.
If you went to auction and you contributed all your funny money to the pot, I'm telling you, things would move along differently and whatnot. Like I said, that's we didn't give odds on some of those scenarios, but I like it that I can envision the possibilities, and I really do appreciate that. And it's hard to do that by yourself, folks, and that's why it's good to have some people that you can bounce. I mean, if I had a home league, I mean, you can't talk to your homeboys and girls. They'd be like, their ears would get big. It's like, oh, okay, is that what you're thinking? Okay, yeah,
But
yeah. I'm not
and
going to draft that guy. Yeah,
and when we were doing the draft night outs, we were in two different leagues.
yeah, we were,
And
but
and we followed this same rationale
yeah,
for your team
yep,
and for my team. And
right.
we talked out every pick
Yeah,
because we think in terms of not one player.
no,
So it's in this case, it's not even a pod of players at running back. If the running back to take at this selection is James Conner, and that's it. Like that's
let me go ahead
how,
and draft him. Yeah,
yeah, that's how much I feel about him. But what we were doing was not just thinking about round 6, pick 10. What we were looking at was what do we do with the next pick and the next pick and the next pick. And that is the key to having success is you've got to say, okay, if we execute this pick here, we're pretty sure Cam Ward is going to be gone by the next time we pick. We're okay with that because there are reasons that Cam Ward isn't as valuable on our team as James Conner. We already have 2 quarterbacks. We have a bye week problem. by taking Ward. We limit ourselves to one of three in week 10. Now, we could limit ourselves to one of three in week 10 due to injuries, but you don't want to start the season knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
So there were reasons why we could accept a different quarterback. And I would say, well, I'd be fine with Darnold as our third quarterback because I'm very confident that week 5 Darnold is going to be the starter in Seattle unless he gets hurt, and you can never plan for injuries. Mm-hmm. I'm reasonably confident he would be the starter in week 10 when we need another quarterback. Right. I'm not so confident that James Darnold will be the starter in weeks 13 plus when we need points the most. Mm-hmm. But he can get us there. He can get us to the tourney, to the battle for the money. And that's where our top two picks, Dak and Love, who I think the world of this year. I cannot believe the value.
At the price.
The value that we've been able to get on both of these guys this year. Same with Baker Mayfield. He has fallen to a level where it's been a layup drill to draft him in both Superflex and one quarterback leagues because the value is there. The farther you go in the draft, the better potential a player has to the upside. And if you've got a guy who's got the back class, and especially when the back class was last year, so that's not even going back, that's current form, to use the horse racing lingo. It's his last time out, because you can look at years of fantasy football seasons like starts for a horse race, for a horse in a horse race. So when I look at 20, that's the last race for Baker Mayfield. And that last race was like Breeders' Cup worthy. That was a top 3 season last year in any metric you want to use. And I can get him. I have gotten him after pick 100 in one quarterback leagues. It seems criminal to get somebody that late. I mean, one of my favorite leagues that I drafted so far, I got Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott at the 9-12, 10-1 turn. Yeah. Pretty darn happy with that for value. So, again, both quarterbacks have the upside of being good performers. And now I got 2 of them. So I can play matchups. If Dak's going up against a killer defense and I got Baker up against a real easy defense, now I've got an option. I don't have to be married to one quarterback for every game. And in our situation with our Superflex, we've now guaranteed that we've got 2 solid running backs because we'll probably be able to get Trey Benson at his ADP or slightly above. And he'll probably fall to us in the perfect situation. And then we can make sure we've got all of the Arizona running back points that matter. But you're right, Professor. This is the way you have to think in a draft. You can't be thinking one player. Notice we didn't say, oh, we got to have James Conner no matter what.
No.
It was, if we pass on Conner, what is our next option at running back? And what does that comparison look like?
Yep.
And in this situation where we have 2 picks rather close together, you're really looking at the combination of the 2. I think Geno Smith has an excellent chance of falling to us because he's not that sexy quarterback pick. I would believe that Ward will be gone before Geno Smith. And for some reasons, I'd rather have Geno Smith because he's going to put up points every week. And so if one of our other quarterbacks is injured, misses a game, or just has a bad game, we've got that insurance policy for our third quarterback for every single week.
Yeah.
And I like that opportunity. So, but no, you're right, Professor. That's the way you have to think through drafts. And you notice that I looked at the wide receivers and I didn't name just one name. I looked
No.
at a pod of like 5 players that I'll be glad to get. And if any of those 5 come back to me, then I've got a decision. If more than one of those 5 come back, then we're sitting there going, which one do we take? That's the nice problem to have. But there wasn't just one of them that stood out. If there was one that really stood out that had been overlooked by other people, then maybe we go that route instead of going with Connor. But Connor is a safe pick with upside at that point in the draft. I don't think we'll have another running back, a shot at another running back the rest of the draft that has top 12 likelihood in their. I mean, do they have top 12 upside? Sure. But James Conner in an average year is like a 10th through 15th guy. I don't think there's any more of those that have proven themselves for more than 1 year. Swift has done it once. Connor's done it 3 in a row. That's good upside to have at that pick.
I agree. Uh, I I think it's that adaptive concept that
Yes.
I like us demonstrating. Uh, you know, uh, and maybe not this year. It sure would be nice to sit on the shoulder of Mike Reedy and just kind of watch his draft.
Yes.
We we need to get into a league with him and just take some notes and see how he's doing. He may not want that, but it would be nice just to have his, in other words, his philosophy is kind of our philosophy, and it would be
Yes.
nice to see him execute it. And I don't see an opportunity out there that people organize. I mean, people just call for mocks, but wouldn't it be nice to have 12 people that were, claimed to at least have the same philosophy and just watch and see? Because I know it'd be unrealistic because, everybody's doing all sorts of things, right? It's like, back in college, some of the apartments I lived in, you turn the light on and there went all the cockroaches every which direction. That's kind of like mock drafts to me. Everybody's doing their
Yes.
thing. But if
Yes.
all the roaches went in one direction, Dennis, I'd move out because they're smart. They have gained intelligence, and it's time for me to leave. But it would be nice, and down the road, to recruit mock or maybe even a best ball or something cheap, just to kind of watch each other a little bit. That'd be really neat to have, organized mocks by strategy. Like everybody, like, okay, we're going to all 12 do hero RB or zero running back or whatever it is, whatever the flavor of the week is or the month of the year. It would be nice to see how does that work with everybody trying to do it, you
Yeah,
know.
and I've actually been in a draft that was similar to that
Hmm.
2 years ago. Uh, Played with some guys in an auction draft situation
Hmm.
that were all like zero RB. Like of the 12 players, so 11 others other than me,
Hmm.
we had 3 that were really big on this WR2 concept. So they were heavy running backs early.
Hmm.
Okay. And the other like 7 of the remaining 11 were
Hmm.
all zero RB guys. And you could see it early because I ended up getting like Jonathan Taylor for like $7 in this $200 to bid league. And I was like, really? I was just placing a bid because I didn't want to see him go for six, and they went for seven. I'm like, all right, he's on my team. But it was weird to see because the hero, like the WR2 guys, which were more hero drafts, they went big money on some premium running backs early. And I just sat back and I let the money fly.
Yeah.
And I just made sure nobody was going to get a cheap player on my watch.
Right.
So I ended up getting the cheap players. So it was weird, but it taught me that if you have too many of the same type of drafters, that draft type, because it's now the consensus, is the worst way to be going. And that includes people that if you get, I've gone against late QB guys, and all of a sudden you know, you get Lamar Jackson in the fourth round, and you're like, I can't pass this up in the middle of the fourth round. Because if a guy is falling more than he should, you jump in and grab him. I had that happen in some drafts in 22 with Mahomes, where he fell to the middle of the fourth round. And he should have been going late second, early third that year, based on what he did the year before. And because, they were missing wide receivers, he was like, oh, they're gonna let him fall. And they did. And I scoop them up. I don't let, even if I have a different opinion of, okay, from this draft slot, I think the best way to go is to go late QB. Well, when Lamar Jackson at draft night out fell to me at the end of the third, into the rounds, I'm like, I'm taking him. I'm not going to be silly on going against this. You take the value when it's presented to you. You don't hold out. Oh, I like this guy, but I said I was going to go late quarterback, so I'm going to stick to my guns. No, you can't stick to your guns. You got to take the value when it's presented.
I got Lamar as well in my draft.
Yeah, and
And
and we had
yeah,
and,
we both had not. I was targeting Baker Mayfield or
and I was looking at,
Mahomes. Those are the
yeah,
two that I was intrigued by. And okay, you're gonna let me do this? Okay,
yeah, yeah. I thought I was going to be taking a combination of Dak and Love late,
yeah,
and I was going to be happy with that. And then next thing you know, Lamar falls, and I'm like, I really don't. I got two picks. I don't like the other guys here at other positions, other than one. I'll take one of them, but that was just too juicy to let fall. And
yeah,
do I end up being right or wrong? We'll find out in about 4 months.
yeah,
But the key is you got to go with, if I can nail down the top wide receiver, a top running back, and now the top quarterback potentially in fantasy football, all in the same year,
yeah,
I think I've got a good chance of winning. And
yeah,
that's basically how my team ended up starting.
yeah,
So I was just kind of like, okay, you're going to hand me this opportunity. I'm going to take it.
yeah.
But people get so in love with one player. Oh, I'm gonna target my draft tonight. How many of these builds have you seen? If you're drafting from the sixth slot, these are the best players to take every round. I get that strategy, but I would say here are the best pods of players to
Yeah.
take each
The
round.
and it is something else, kind of more of a psychological. When people keep hearing late quarterback, is it scary to take a value early? In other words, does that become something that well, I'm not going to do that. You wonder because if you get locked into these
Yes.
concepts, like, boy, that zero RB sure is juicy. But if somebody lets somebody, a key player fall, do you just ignore it? Well, damn it. You mentioned it. It's like, I'm not going to, here's my strategy, but I will break my strategy. And I'm wondering sometimes does that happen in a draft that you get locked in? People say, "Oh, plan your draft." Look, I plan, but not at what you're planning. And Dennis knows I have these landscapes, and I kind of see patterns in global ways. Not that it's to the
Yes.
player, but it's usually to the position, and that's just to the flow. It doesn't mean
Yes.
that I'm doing one way or the other. I just like to kind of know, how fast the current is on this part of the river. That's
Yes.
all that I'm trying to figure out. If I'm floating down the river on an inner tube, or if there was rapids kind of coming, I kind of want to know that and decide, do I want to take them or not? And I think people get locked into things and they maybe listen to too much to the Twitter or the radio. And I think adaptive is a little hard because it falls against, well, they didn't talk about that. Oh
Yes.
no, this too early. Who said it's too early? When who defines the word early, by the way? Here's the definition. What
Yes.
is a value? What is a sleeper? And I think, people get muddled a little bit and get tricked and think about all that in 30 seconds or even what, 20
Yes.
seconds.
Yes.
And it's like, jumping from one skillet to the fire, Dennis. It's just crazy. And I think that muddles people. And then they get mad and then, well, this is all luck, and they're really mad at themselves. And you go take these mocks, and those mocks don't behave like real. That's why we advocate doing best ball. And if I
Yes.
hadn't had vacation and posters to do, Dennis, I would have done best ball. But
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. I just jumped straight into the frying pan, and we'll see how I've seen how I'm going to do this year. But uh, I don't know. I think there's a game behind the game, and I know you and I try to at least think about it, and I just don't see a lot of that out there. And I would not, if I was just starting, I would be muddled and confused. And I wish people could listen, not to do what we're doing, but at least stop you from being, railroaded one direction or the other. It's like, well, hold it now. These guys are doing something completely different. What does that mean? Just to be thoughtful. And I just don't see enough of that, and not to be contrarian, just to be it. We're contrarian because our value meter's going off in our head, and I don't know the
Yeah.
definition of that. I just made that up, that term, but it nags me. It's like, no, I can't leave that. I cannot put that down. I got to grab it. And then horse racing, the same thing. You're sitting there and the horses, yeah, that's interesting. Then you look and it's like 8-1. It was what now? And you wasn't planning on it, but all of a sudden it's slapping you in the head, and you just, oh, I got to put this in. I got to bet this somehow. Well, in
Yes.
horse racing, you could do an exacta, trifecta. You've got options. Fantasy football, you got one choice. You can't bet it an exacta. I mean, you can, if you have like two picks together, but It's a little different, but horse racing's a lot like that. You'll come in and you don't even think about this. All of a sudden you look up and that odds board screaming at you. You got to do something with it, because you're going
Yeah.
to be mad if you don't. And I don't know what you do, but at least you try to do something with it.
Yeah, and I think that's the key is you got to look at things in if a guy falls to you and all of a sudden just turns into a tremendous value play, you got to take it. And it doesn't matter what else your team looks like at that point because value is value. So, I had one league this year drafting from the 3 slot, and I grabbed Gibbs because I was like, man, Jamar Gibbs, Bijan and Chase were gone. So I like Jamar Gibbs. I have him as my 1 and 1A entry with Bijan for the best running back this year. And, so the draft is going along and I'm able to pick up AJ Brown in the second round. Chase Brown was gone, so I took AJ Brown instead. It was either AJ Brown, Josh Jacobs, or Bucky Irving, or Kyron Williams. Those are the 4 guys that were kind of in my pod of possible players. And because I had Gibbs, I thought, maybe going wide receiver is a good idea. So I went wide receiver with AJ Brown, who's as consistent as can be. Amon-Ra was off the board. Nico was off the board. Malik Neighbors obviously off the board. By the time I picked at 210, AJ Brown was solid. Man, he's just a solid performer. Yeah, he's got a couple of bum weeks every once in a while if the Eagles aren't passing a lot, but he was just a value play. I came back in the third, and as expected, Jacobs, Irving, and Williams. There was one of my other guys that I was hoping maybe one of those 3 running backs would fall to me at the next pick. They didn't, so I took Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. It comes around to me again in the fourth, and I'm picking 410. I took McMillan, out of Carolina, the rookie. Just love that pick at that point in the draft. A lot of my guys like Kamara and Connor, that would have been my second running back, had just gone off the board. And even though I already had 2 really solid wide receivers, I added a third one. And again, come around to the 4th round and they let Xavier Worthy fall to me. And so I now have 4 really solid wide receivers. Do I have a Justin Jefferson, CD Lamb, Chase, Amon-Ra, or a Neighbors? No, I don't. But what I've got is my second and third wide receivers are better than just about anybody else's second and third wide receivers, except for the guy that got Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra. I'm a little jealous of that start. But the key is now I've got 4 wide receivers after round 5. You know what better than 0 says? It says I don't need another one necessarily. So the next pick comes around in the 6th round. David Montgomery is still there at 6'10". Yeah, I got Gibbs. Who cares? Now I got Montgomery. Now I'll play them both. Come back to the 7th, and Caleb Johnson is there. By the way, Brian Robinson was taken just a couple of picks earlier, and I was like, I don't want him. And this was long before the talk of, I don't have any Brian Robinson this year, because Opportunity Index said he's not a lock to hold that job.
Yeah.
So at his salary, I didn't like him this year. But I ended up taking running backs next 3. I had Montgomery and Caleb Johnson, and I know Caleb Johnson's going to be in a timeshare, but that timeshare worked out pretty good for Najee Harris a couple of years ago. And then I get to the 8th round, and now you're talking, okay, now I can throw some darts. I would have taken Ferguson at tight end if he had fallen there, but he was taking a couple of picks earlier. Same with Tyler Warren. would have taken them. Ingram, Njoku, long gone by then as well. I took a shot at Judkins from Cleveland, even though he's unsigned, even though he had some issues hanging over his head.
Yep.
I'm like, I start playing the what if game. But I could have gone quarterback. I was going to go Dak. I had Dak, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, and Jordan Love as my guys that I was sort of targeting at that point in the draft, but I passed because there were still four of those. And there weren't as many running back opportunities. And I was kind of like a little lean at running back. I'm fine at wide receiver. Tight end, nobody really excites me. Maybe Kraft will fall to me the next round. He didn't. But I come back to the ninth round, and Baker Mayfield is still on the board, and I jumped at him and took him. So that's how the draft unfolds. Is you just kind of look at what the value is there, and I don't know if the value is going to be. I don't know what the value is going to be on some of these guys, but they've got upside. They're going to be picked. And so I ended up with my spare wide receivers after the top four: Keon Coleman and Brandon Ayuk. They could hit. If they miss, I'm fine at wide receiver. And then some of my late running backs. You liked my late running back strategy again this year.
Oh yeah.
From 11th round down, I target 5 guys, right?
Yep.
So in this particular draft, I prioritized taking Brashard Smith, Woody Marks, Ollie Gordon, because Krosky Merritt went actually a little bit earlier in the draft. So I was like, could have taken him, would have taken him in the 11th, but he was taken with 2 picks before me. Yeah. So now I'm in a situation where I'll just take the value. The guy who took Brian Robinson was smart enough to back him up with JCM. So I give him credit on that of taking the bold pick of Robinson in the 7th, which I thought was risky, but he backed him up with JCM. My last pick out the door, though, one of my last picks before I concentrated on a backup, backups at different players or that I might need. I left the draft with Chris Rodriguez in the 17th.
Yeah, I've been getting him.
Yeah, take 18. A shot at the other guy. Take a shot at the other guy. If you can't land JCM, take a shot at the other guy because it's not a slam dunk who will be the starting running back for Washington all year. Yeah. So take a couple of shots. But this whole idea of 11th round on, I have 5 rookie running backs, and then I have Ray Davis. So I've got 6, counting Ray Davis. And Ray Davis is a guy that I might take on some teams. I might pass on other teams. It all depends. But it's all coming after the 11th round. And all you're looking from the 11th round on is upside. You don't care if the guy's going to flop. And I did take Cam Ward with this team. And believe it or not, I actually took Tua on this team too. So a 1 quarterback league, I have 3 quarterbacks because I was playing keep away. I was like 18th round. Are you kidding me? There's nothing here that I like at other positions. I can either take my defense or kicker early. All 5 of my rookie wide receivers on my list were gone by then. This is a pretty good savvy group I was drafting against, I think. So all my rookie running backs are gone. I'll take a 3rd quarterback. What the hell? And it's mainly because now Tua can't score points for anybody else. And maybe you'll end up being a guy I use. But that's the strategy decisions you have to make. You can't think in terms of one player. You have to think in pods.
Well, why don't you pod me pick? Let me use a soundboard and I'm on the clock here. And
perfect.
So I have Dak.
Love that.
We've squawked about him. I got him in the 8th.
Love it.
Got Tucker Craft.
Love it. Love that.
I know people are going crazy about Barkley not taking him. I thought long and hard about that. I've got some data that ease my mind a little bit,
Oh yeah.
and uh, and so we'll see how that goes. I got Kamara and Pacheco, then of course AJ Brown, Evans, Rice, and Olave. So I'm feeling, obviously pretty good about wide receivers. Okay with my running backs. I'm not disappointed with quarterbacks. So this is my 10th pick. We're not the 11th yet. So I'm just going to kind of take you through what I'm doing, and I'm going to let Dennis jump in. So when I look at this, I see balance. Nothing. I see nothing that I couldn't take. In other words, I'm not
Right.
shackled by anything. So a lot of times I just start with quarterback and just see, okay. I like Purdy. My com data really loves him. Uh, Counts above median.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I see Goff's there. So uh, Lawrence, Love. So I'm not seeing anything that tells me I gotta take anything now. I do like Purdy, but I'm not sure I like him here. There's probably some other things. Tight ends, I look. Kincaid, Pitts, Goddard, I kind of like, but I see Ertz, I like. Henry's okay. Chiggy is my second.
And I've
Uh,
told you, Brenton Strange is another guy that I really like
and I
as a
really
late
like
pick.
Cade Otten
Oh yeah, that's another good late pick.
because
Yep.
of the uncertainties of the wide receivers there, and
Yeah.
Baker really loved him, and look how deep he is. So I'm not scared to pass on quarterback or tight end. So
I
that's
agree.
so that I'm just kind of taking you through my thinking here. So then I love running backs at this point. So now I look and see what I got. Brian Robinson is a good handcuff for CMC. I just don't know if I want to pay the price for him, which is completely different than my thinking last week, Dennis, of course.
Right.
Yeah, there's Eckler there. It's not somebody I gotta have, but he's going to play a role. People have kind of forgotten about
Oh
him.
yeah.
I
Yep.
wouldn't. Nothing here other than Ray Davis really intrigues me. Blue, I think, hurt his ankle yesterday. Did you
Yeah, it he might yes.
there the guy
Yes.
on Twitter, okay, folks, guy on Twitter was
When it
saying it's
yeah,
it's going to be multi weeks, and so that,
it's possible. It's
yeah, so
possible.
I'm not in, that doesn't inspire me at this there. So Ray Davis is interesting, but I think he could fall down the road. So I'm not.
Yeah, I agree
So
with you.
I'm now moving to wide receiver. And let's see, Godwin is very intriguing for when he does get back. He could be something. Higgins is intriguing. Kurt, Rashid. I, I'm liking these four here. They intrigue me, and I like Ayuk later. Tillman's interesting. So I see a lot of interesting plays here at this level. There's nothing that's like,
And,
uh, you know, gotta have, but I am intrigued by what I'm seeing here.
yeah, and with your wide receiver situation right now, you can go all upside potential here
Yeah.
because you've got your starters already.
Yep.
So, Rice is going to start the season in your lineup every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt. But how long does he stay there?
Well, I'm
Does he get
doing
suspended
the
after four?
patented dentist trick. I'm hoping the next flip flop that I would grab Ayuk
Yes.
concept. So my thinking is Godwin, Rashid will back up Olave and Evans
Yes. Yep.
and IU. Those are my three. But I just wanted to hear your discussion on the Houston people. Burden, Keenan Allen still there. Uh, Nothing. I mean, Tillman is deeper still, but I'm not sure I'm grabbing him here. So, what are you seeing on the Houston people? Burden or Allen? Anything that's just jumping out? You got to take over any of the ones I mentioned.
Yeah. So with Houston, Kirk starts the season, Higgins or Noel starts to become more prominent
Mm-hmm.
as the season wears on.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk is just like a plotter. Okay. He's like uh, in horse racing, he's like a, a horse with good speed
Mm-hmm.
that if nobody else has, if nobody challenges him for the lead,
Mm-hmm.
he could do a merry-go-round race, and just hold on to the lead. But what you're going to get out of Kirk if that happens is a low-end flex starter
Mm-hmm.
at best. And at worst, he's not even worth keeping on a roster.
Right.
Okay. In best ball, I might take a shot at him because I don't have to decide which weeks he's going to pay off. Because he
Right.
will have one or two spike weeks early in the season, and people are like, "Whoa, great! Look at it! Look at Kirk! I'm glad I grabbed him." And then he'll throw 3 games in a row of 3 to 6 points at you and disappoint you. So I don't think, especially with your roster,
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to get into the starting lineup. Higgins, on the other hand, could catch fire late in the season. Will it happen? I don't know. He's a rookie. That's a possibility, but there's a lot of competition for targets with Houston. And you got Nico Collins, who I don't think is going to give up that alpha role. Burden, on the other hand, with Chicago, you got a Dunze and DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, to start the season, he might be losing snaps to Zacchaeus, who's a 7-year veteran who has been competent in his career, actually had a very good season, a very good close to the season in Washington last year, and is getting quite a bit of praise in that offense. So I'm not crazy about Burden in this situation because I think he'll fall another round, maybe. I'm intrigued with Godwin.
Yeah.
That's the guy I'm really intrigued
Well,
with. But at running back, I'm willing to take a chance on Jadon Blue because I don't think that injury is all that concerning. Preseason injuries or injuries that happen during training camp, they are different than injuries that happen during the week. So, in other words, this ankle injury,
mm-hmm.
if it happened week 5, might not even be important enough to take him out of the game. Okay. He might play through it the rest of the game. In preseason, the minute anything happens to a guy, man, they are going to protect him. They're not going to risk having him get hurt any worse. So in that case, I look at it and I say, I don't know how to read these injuries. So on your roster anyway, you don't have to worry about if he misses week 1.
Mm-hmm.
What's he going to do later in the season if Kamara, Pacheco, or Barkley get hurt? Because he's not right now, he's not getting in your lineup. Okay. You don't need a starter. So
No.
I like the upside of Godwin if you're a gambler.
Yeah.
And I like but as you pointed out, Ayuk might be a better bet
Yeah.
and he's coming cheaper.
Yeah. He is pretty
and
cheap.
and you got Mr. Keenan Allen there
Yeah.
who could be a good replacement by week flex,
Yeah.
who's also on the board there. You got Mims, who's a gambler, type upside guy. You got Rashad Bateman farther down the draft, who might be a good guy. You got Cedric Tillman. You got a lot of guys that are these take a chance on me wide receivers, and you only need one more of those. And I'd probably reserve that spot for Ayuk. I'd probably say, okay, in a few rounds, I'm going to look and see if Ayuk is still there. If he is, I'll weather the injury with him. Versus Godwin, who, like, Godwin and Ayuk's chances of coming back week one are both pretty bad, but Godwin was also kept off he's going to make the 53-man roster, which tells me they expect him to miss fewer than 4 weeks. But what is your first bye week problem at wide receiver? That's what I would look at.
9.
See, you don't have a bye week need until week 9. That's where I'm like, man, give me the Ayuk upside at week 9.
Yeah.
But way, way too early to take him.
Yeah.
So I'd go back to the wide receiver, or I mean the running backs, because
Yeah.
I always default to running backs for my depth. I'd take a shot at Blue in his ankle injury because, again, I don't need him week 1. I need him later on in the season. He's a 21-year-old kid who's got a chance to be the survivor in that backfield. You got Javonte Williams and the ghost of Miles Sanders ahead of him. And Phil Maha might actually be another guy that you can get at the end of drafts this year if he makes the 53-man and if Jaden Blue is hurt. But in this situation, I got Blue and Judkins and Tootin and Davis are the pod of 4 that I would look at here, because by late in the season, when you might need a running back to fill in,
Yeah.
or you might need a flex to fill in after week 9, man, I like their chances of being something. So that's the way I would attack this draft, is I would probably defer to taking the running back that I felt had a shot at taking over the starter role on a decent offense. Dallas is a good offense. They just are weak at running back. But the running back that survives, look at what Rico Dowdle was able to do in that offense. He was able to get himself a free agent contract because he grinded his way to a decent fantasy output. I look at Blue being the same kind of guy. Again, I don't get too concerned about injuries in preseason, because if it was serious, they'd already put him on the IR.
The my thumbnail of this is the kind of build that's going to depend on wide receivers, and it's going to be a lot more variable.
Yes.
I'm actually looking at Godwin and then trying to get Ayuk, and if he's gone, then maybe Shaheed. And I think I'm going to walk away from Blue uh, and just kind of patch and fill after. If Kamara and Barkley blow up, then I'm probably in a lot of deeper
Oh, yeah.
pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the gamble is hoping those, get me nice. And then my flex is filled in with Rice, Olave, Godwin, Ayuk kind of playing there is what I'm thinking. So
Well,
I appreciate Blue,
and
but
here's the
yeah,
thing too, with your situation at running back,
yeah,
you you can probably at cost protect Barkley with Shipley,
Yes.
protect Kamara with Neal or Miller or
Or
both,
both. Yeah.
and protect Pacheco
With
with
Smith.
Brashard Smith
I've
or
already
Brashard Smith
got
and
those
Hunt.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the guys that you take later on.
Yeah.
You should be able to protect two of the three of
Yeah.
your running backs without taking a reach.
Yeah. So that's I guess I'm feeling greedy with Godwin because Evans will miss a few games, and it would be nice if Godwin is a little faster. And they've let him drop, Dennis.
Yes.
And I feel like that's, you know, it just feels interesting to me. Uh, and
The
then, yeah.
yeah,
So,
the lead wide receiver for Tampa Bay last year,
yeah,
regardless of whether it was Godwin or Evans during the point in the season, they had an MVP index of 143.
yeah,
That's as high
yeah, you're going to
as
get
you're going to get. Like 145 is an that's WR1 material
right.
every single season. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the Godwin pick at all. I think that's
Yeah.
a good solid play.
Yeah. Like I said, I got a lot of drafts rolling here. I think I'm gonna not bug you with the other two, but and so we'll go from there. It's probably start the show, but anyway, Dennis, thanks for uh, helping me out there on that. I appreciate the Jaden Blue and uh,
And with the injury news, he might fall to the next round to you and
he
make you
might,
decide again. And
yeah,
that's
make me decide again. Well, that'll
and
be a little different because I'm really getting to the point in round 11 where I'm hitting that let's do all upside running back. So, in other words, blue at the 11th is intriguing. I do like Davis. I do like I feel like I need one more. I feel like Ayuk would fill it up for me, and then in the 12th round start the running backs. So I don't see Blue falling 2 rounds, but I see Ray Davis maybe, and
Ray
he could
Davis,
start
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Or Dennis, I have been reaching for Woody Marks
Oh yeah.
and Ollie
Yeah.
Gordon
Oh
in
yeah.
12 and 13. I have been literally reaching where the little thing says, you reached. And I
Yeah.
at the 12th round, it's different
Everything's
than
everything's
reaching.
a reach.
Yeah, versus the
Yeah.
third round. I mean, these little draft things, people think, oh, well, I better not. It's round 20, my last pick, and it says I'm reaching. It's like, man, you got to let it go at some point and be thoughtful. Don't let but I mean, Dennis, everything's a reach as you said. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's enough of that. But
once I get to round 11, okay, I've got my 5 rookies plus Ray Davis. So
yeah,
that's 6 running backs in a pod.
yeah,
I then have about 3 wide receivers in a pod. And
yeah.
those change because some of those guys don't last until the 11th that I target. But those are guys like Xavier Leggett, Cedric Tillman, Rashad Bateman. If
Leggett really goes up if Thielen gets traded.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
and even if Thielen doesn't get traded, Leggett has that different style of
he
play.
has a different role on that team.
Is a different role than Thielen, and
Yes.
Thielen's role is more similar to like McMillan's going to be the target hog if he's good because
Yes.
he's a large wide receiver who can go deep or can go over the middle. And those are the kinds of guys that tend to be the real great first round draft picks as a rookie wide receiver that do very well in fantasy football. The tall guys do well their first year. And That doesn't mean you can't have slimmer, smaller guys that are a big hit, because we've seen that too. But it's just it's the perfect body type to do well in that offense. And Thielen is going to lose some targets to the rookie. There's no doubt about it. But Leggett does something different. He's more of a DK Metcalf, George Pickens type of wide receiver that has his role, but doesn't, he's never going to be the dominant guy. But when you're drafting late, you're drafting for upside. And if I can get a WR2 that will have some spike weeks that I can take advantage of during bye weeks, and if I have injuries, those are the kinds of guys. But it's Leggett. And what if the rookie is bad? Like, what if McMillan is just not ready for the NFL? Leggett looked really good at times last year. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm just saying year 2, Leggett versus rookie McMillan, they might be a little closer early, at different times of the season. Who knows? Because rookies sometimes hit that wall at late in the year where they've been beaten up too much. They're not used to getting beaten up as much in college as they do in the pros. So sometimes they hit that wall, and that guy, that other, bigger body type who can go up and challenge on those 50-50 balls, that's a juicy pick late in a draft. Same with Tillman, same with Bateman. Those are guys that, they could be really solid, especially Tillman and Bateman could take over as the WR1 on their team. Not the likelihood. Flowers probably still command some target share, and so will Judy in Cleveland, but it's not outside of their range of outcomes. Those are the kinds of guys that will be my occasional late round reach at wide receiver, but I'm mainly going for my 5 rookies and Ray Davis. Those are the guys. And it's because they're probably going to be survivors in the backfields. Woody Marks has moved up to the top of that list because, after JCM, Woody Marks, who's now no longer going in the 11th round and later, he was on that list. He's not going that late anymore, nope. Sadly. And that's why Chris Rodriguez gets penciled in as the alternate, because one of my 5 rookies that we've been targeting since late May, all of a sudden he's got the buzz and he's going up higher. Woody Marks is probably the next one to leave that 11th round plus pick guys. And I wouldn't be afraid to reach and go as high as the 9th round for either JCM or Woody Marks. But I loved him in the 11th round and later. So that's kind of the strategy that is built into the better than zero. Notice I say likely to be my picks, not, I'm just taking these 5 guys if they're available. You always have to see what is available at tight end. What fell to you at tight end, quarterback, wide receiver? If a great player, if a Godwin falls to the 11th round, or an Ayuk falls to the 11th round, now all of a sudden they're competing.
Well, I just got Godwin in the 10th.
You just got Godwin in the 10th. So I'm looking at those guys as being, hey, I don't care if they miss the whole season. If they just play 6 weeks at the end of the year, then they're going to pay off. So that's kind of how I look at it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we start the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Yep.
Here we go. How you doing, everybody? This is Dennis Michelson. Welcome to the science of fantasy football. Why the science of fantasy football? Well, you get a meteorologist and a biologist together. Of course, we're going to use the scientific method. I think we might lose our degrees if we didn't. But what is the scientific method? Just means we're going to use statistics in a smarter way. And that means letting the statistics guide you to an answer instead of cherry picking statistics for a player that you already like. And joining me as he does each and every week, he is the fantasy professor. He's a real professor emeritus. It's John Bush. And John, these are the two most busy draft weekends of the year that we are entering into this week and next.
Yeah, I've got a few drafts I'm monitoring here. We just ended the 6 hour drafts, Dennis. I'm RIP. Now I've got these very fast 2 hour drafts. So all the name of my teams include 2 hour drafts too damn fast. So I'm letting the other members know that I think 2 hours is too damn fast. But I guess it is what it is. And so I'm getting cranky about losing my 4 hours here. It never fails. People are in the chat rooms, or there's always one. I didn't know this was 6 hours. Boy, I'll never do this again, and just keep going on and on, and it amuses me and entertains me, just like Twitter. They're all getting cranky and salty, uh, on the Twitter, and everybody's cranky. And what it is everybody's anxious, Dennis, and they don't know what to do with all that energy. And so they start getting salty and chew on each other or chew on their own leg or something. So I just let it all happen, and I buckle down and work on my drafts and so forth here. I'm shooting for 30, usually get 50. So this is going to be little bit. I'm a little slack this year. I do apologize to the 50 plus club for redraft drafters. I'm not going to make it this year. I could, but I'd have to do too many live drafts, and I just don't have the patience to do a minute, and that makes me extra angry. So anyway, maybe next week, Dennis, for the pre-show, we'll do. We need to record you and I doing a 60-second draft or something. I don't know. See what we can do. Get mad.
There
Get
you
angry.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be tough to do what we do in analysis in that amount of time. But Professor,
Yeah.
I've got good news.
Okay.
I
What's
just
the good news?
I just got a notice that I am on the clock
Yeah.
in a draft that I just started up a couple of days ago. We are in the
Yeah.
fifth round.
Is this sleeper? What
Um,
is this?
it's on FPPC, one quarterback
Oh, okay.
draft. Yeah, and I
Okay.
was I was picking from the seventh draft position. So this is
I gave you
507.
sharing permission, I think.
Yeah, let's see if we could pop this up on the screen and we can talk we could talk through this draft because I am really
Oh, come
I'm
on now. You're
I'm
not really.
I'm
You've
in
had too
a
much coffee. I see your eyes. They're crazy coffee eyes.
I'm very I don't know which direction to go here.
Yeah.
But hopefully you can see my team now.
Yeah. Look at
Um,
that. Look at you getting greedy with three running backs here. What the hell? Boy,
love,
notice that McLaurin, I've been getting
yes.
him in the seventh, and now I'm not happy to see that,
No,
because I was now hoping that he would, stay undercover. But now that he's settled, he instantly, Dennis, like 2 days before, I think I've got him in three
yes.
of my teams at the seventh round. And it was just sweet, sweet, sweet. And let's see, Burrow is gone. I'm looking at what's gone before. Boy, nice run of RBs there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people getting greedy for RBs, but you've already got that nailed down. Let's see. When I see A Chain, I'm definitely know you're going to target his backside.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Are you going to try to get Ramadre to cover Travion Henderson?
I might.
Yeah, I'm not
It all
enthusiastic about that, but I
yeah.
will say Kamara will be easily covered, Miller or Neal. But you won't get Kamara back. You'll get like half a Kamara at best.
Correct.
Sorry.
Correct. Correct.
Sorry.
And
So, but if it's your last pick, maybe that's as good as you'll get there. Jefferson has been a concern to me. I have drafted him kind of, but only because Neighbors was gone. And then I have a
yes.
choice. Do I take Amon Ra or do I take, uh, Jefferson? And sometimes I've been taking Jefferson. So right now, first thing I want to just double check is the tight ends. There's no way Kittle is not, is he, is Kittle still there? See,
Let's
that
take a
would be
look.
intriguing to me in the fifth round.
Yeah, Kittle's long
So
gone.
you
So
sure?
he's
Pull
gone.
up, pull up.
And Kelsey is gone as well.
Oh, okay. You
So
sure?
yeah,
Yeah,
so I've
Laporte's.
got I'm sorry. No, I got Laporta, Hawkinson, Kelsey
Yeah,
are the next three.
Kelsey's interesting, but not now.
No, I
What
think
about
that's a little early.
quarterback? Let's just double check, make sure nobody's. I got Hurts at almost the fifth round, and you
Yeah,
saw that last night.
Mahomes, Nicks,
Yeah,
Mayfield are
same,
the
the
next
same.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, and I know you were jealous me getting at 410 Hurts because I already had AJ Brown.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
Devonta Smith and Goddard. I'm gonna have a super. I've never had a superfecta stack before, so I'm really excited to try to make that happen. Okay, well, I think you got to look at wide receivers just because of the balance, but it doesn't mean I'm stuck on them.
Yeah, and in wide receiver here, when I made my last selection, which was Kamara, and
Yeah,
I went for I got three good ones, and you could
yeah,
see
yeah,
where I was at 4-6.
yeah.
Um, I was at a situation where McMillan was gone, and that was the guy that
But
I was hoping
Adams
would
and
fall.
Mecca and
I
Worthy, so
yeah,
that's not
I
bad.
hope
Yeah,
yeah. I What I looked at here is I said, okay,
McLaurin.
I think either Williams, DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy, I think one of those guys is going to fall to me
Yeah,
in the next round. And I was wrong.
yeah.
So my next group that I have
Hmm.
here are Devonta Smith
Yeah, I like
and
Devonta
and
Smith and Ubuke.
Egbuka.
Those jump out to me with Waddle
Yes.
being third.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exactly how I ordered. And fourth would be Pickens for me. I know
Correct. And I
people are liking
yep.
Sutton. He might be fifth, but I just don't see. I'm liking Smith or Bouquet. So let's see.
And
Boy,
here I'm
Smith
loving
is
that.
hard to.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
hard to walk away from, Dennis. Right now.
De-
What about?
Devonta
Yeah,
Devonta Smith is very difficult to walk away from. Egbuka is the other guy that I really
yeah.
like here, and I'm tossed up between the two because those are the two guys that I'm
Check the
settled
running
on.
backs real quick, but I think we're. I just.
Pollard, Pacheco,
I like
Montgomery.
Montgomery.
I do like Montgomery. There's some of these
Caleb
guys that I
there.
like. Yep.
I think some of these are going to fall if you
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
I think wide receiver, Dennis, and I think it's between a bouquet and Devona. That's my spider sense telling me of those two. So you
Yeah.
have Jefferson. Jefferson is a one. Jefferson had some injury issues. He's got a new quarterback, correct?
Correct.
So
Correct.
the early in the season, he could have a little bit. I feel like the safe pick is Devona because I think him and Hertz have synergy whereas Jefferson's got to build that. A bouquet could still be building synergy. So in some ways, a bouquet with Mayfield is kind of like Jefferson with the new quarterback is a little bit more of a gamble with early. I'm just talking first, say 3 weeks, and then Devona is kind of like he's going to be the safe pick. If you could pick all three of those, I mean, have those, that'd be great. But I think Devona seems the safe pick. So do you want to gamble or do you want safety at this point?
Well, here's how I'm going to reason this through
Okay.
is there if I don't take Igbuka, I got 10 picks. Will he come back to me? Probably
No,
not.
he won't.
But either or
That's what I'll say.
Travis
Yeah.
Waddle or Travis Hunter
Yeah.
could fall, and Rice definitely will.
Yeah.
So
And
I've got
Kelsey might be somebody you're intrigued with.
and Kelsey I could pivot to as well. So I've got some plays there. I really like Devonta Smith. You know that.
Yeah.
It's a guy that
All
we
right.
just we just
We
made a
drafted
trade.
him last year all over the
Yes.
place,
All over the place.
and
And
there's nothing to say we shouldn't do it again, right? I
no,
mean,
no, no. I like his upside because I know here's the thing. I actually think he's got better upside than he did at this time last year because I don't think the Eagles defense is going to be as great as they were.
they
They'll
were
still be
good
very
last
good.
year. The
They were
Daps were
they
really
were
good.
they were
Yeah.
top one
They
last
didn't
year.
need
Yeah, they
Smith.
didn't need no, they didn't need and with Saquon Barkley, they just needed to run the ball. And Smith still was a competent,
But you know, if they ease up on Barkley a little bit, Smith will
yes,
collect those.
yes. Yeah. I like that
That's another
selection.
thing to think about.
Yeah, I like that selection because I also think that Rice could fall to me. And in which
Rice would be a
case,
nice pick if you circle back with Godwin or Ayuk later to take over
correct.
if he gets a crazy suspension.
Correct. So I like my situation here. This leads me into my discussion for the day. And that is my advice to people is don't take an ordinary wide receiver. And
No,
I know Cortland Sutton had a very solid year last year, but that was mainly because he was surrounded by just a bunch of young players. He's a very ordinary wide receiver when you look at his longer term of his career. And when I say ordinary, I'm not saying that that's bad,
and remember,
but
Bo Nix was just starting to figure things out too.
he was. But you've got a lot of young talent on that Denver team that could be stepping up. You've got a good, strong Denver Broncos defense. So I think they're going to want to run a lot. Last year, remember, they struggled at running back of finding somebody that they could count on. They got Dobbins and RJ Harvey. I think they got a 1-2 punch this year that they didn't have. That's why I'm not crazy about Cortland Sutton because his past performances, again, to use a horse racing analogy like we usually do, show a very competent horse that will finish in the top three,
Yes.
but not win for you very often. He's
Yep.
going to be he's going to be the kind of horse that in 25 starts he has 2 wins, 8 places, and 12 shows. Like he's on the board, but is he going to be the difference maker? Look at the spike weeks. Devonta Smith hits those spike weeks, and for me here, it's either Devonta Smith or Egbuka. Those would be my picks. And here's one possibility: is taking Egbuka, taking Rice, and then taking Godwin later on in the draft.
Yep.
That trio would be intriguing to me as well.
Yep. I like all that, Dennis.
So the question I come down to is Devonta Smith versus Emeka Egbuka. Is there a universe in which Egbuka, if he's really, really good, can lead his team in targets? Could he emerge over Evans?
If Evans
With
got hurt and Godwin didn't pick it up, yes. I
is
think you
there
got two things to
Yeah,
happen for him to be the clear leader.
okay. With Devonta Smith, is he ever going to be the clear leader on his team? You got Saquon Barkley that's going to be taking a lot of touches, and you've got AJ Brown who's going to take a lot of touches. Who's more likely to be a fantasy football leader on his team any
Smith.
given week? Smith
With
or
one
Igbuka?
injury, Smith, last year, I remember there were weeks where he would outdo A.J. Brown. Not a lot, but
Yep,
some.
yep. And that's why I'm going to settle on Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
He is going to be my selection here because and here's the thing. If I already had two very good wide receivers, let's say that I'd gone wide receiver in round two and I had two very good wide receivers. I had Jefferson and I had Malik Neighbors or a Garrett Wilson or, even Amon-Ra St. Brown if I got lucky on that. If I had two really solid wide receivers already, I'd go Egbuka over Smith right here. But the fact that I don't, I'm going to err to the guy that I know will start the season doing very well and end the season doing very well. Like Devonta Smith is a good, solid WR2 in fantasy football. And he's got the upside to just like tickle the end of that WR1 list on a good week. But he's not going to be outside the top 20 very often. That's what my MVP data says with him. So
So
I like,
Devonta Smith, let me look real
how do you
quick.
do on your com data?
Yeah, so I'm looking. I forgot. Let's see. Godwin was at about 60, so at his peak.
Yeah.
So that's kind of good. Devonta Smith, Dennis, 70%.
Oof.
So if he plays 17 games, this says that he will 11 to 12 weeks, he will be above median. He will bring you uh say 12 weeks, he's not going to hurt you and he could actually win you your league. He has a nice safe floor at 12 weeks of safe or win. 5 weeks, you're going to be struggling. I could take that at this point.
And I just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Devonta Smith is a good, solid pick right here and fits in well with my team. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the other benefit that I get from this is I don't have a single bye week issue among my starting five.
Right.
So I'm going to start the season with those five guys between, they're going to be my two running backs, two wide receivers, and two flex positions.
Right.
They're going to make that group. And now it's just a matter of who I add to that group. And I'm targeting Rice. If Rice falls another round to me, I'm going to have to take a good hard look because I could get 4 really good weeks before any suspension. So I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Travis Hunter is another guy. Maybe if I don't get a Egbuka, I can get the other rookie with the upside.
Mm-hmm.
or I get Waddle. I wouldn't even be afraid to take Olave. And I love Jacoby Myers. Myers is another one of those old
You got
reliables.
Devonta Smith in what round?
I got him in the 5th round.
I got Devonta Smith yesterday in 507, just like
Yep,
you.
507. Yep,
You and I
yep.
grabbed him, and I got Andrew. I had Lamar Jackson, and I went and grabbed Andrews the next pick to stack it,
Oh man, that's good.
and came back with Diggs uh, and let's see, JCM and Jordan Addison in Minnesota. He's only going to lose 3 games. I'll wait for him as a
Yeah,
good flex guy.
yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, there are some guys that are Addison's here.
Yeah,
He
he'll
could
miss
come in.
3, but he's a good
Yeah,
flex play.
Diggs is down there that I like. I mean, there's a lot of wide receiver talent
I mean,
that
I
I
got
like this
Jefferson,
week.
Devonta Smith, and Diggs, and then Addison's my 4th. So I like that a lot. I really
Yeah.
do. So here's some questions I have, Dennis. You didn't know I was doing that. Tell me your opinion of Mixon at this point. People have
Oof.
gone all the way around to
Oh
where
yeah. Yeah.
he's not even going to play this season. Uh, they're hiding his injuries. And, I heard the other day he'll be back 2, 3 games. I have heard all sorts of crazy opinions. Where are you at on that? In other words, should I be taking Mixon? In fact, I've got a shot to take him at ADP 100. So I
Yes.
got a shot in the 10th round. I could pick up Mixon.
So
Is he worth a
once
10-round pick?
once you get to pick 100,
That's where
in
I'm at.
in when you are after pick 100,
Right.
all you're looking at is upside. Okay, I don't care what the downside is, because the last thing you want to do in fantasy football is pick the 40th running back off the board or the 35th running back off the board and have them finish 33rd in points.
Right.
It doesn't do you any good. But if I can pick the 35th through 40th running back off the board, and they can give me 6 to 8 weeks, notice I'm not asking for a lot. I'm asking for half a season at this point. If they can give me half a season as a top 20 level performer, I'm going to take that chance. And here's the joy of Mixon is you can get Mixon that late and you can turn around and get Woody Marks equally late. Nick Chubb would then be the only guy ahead of them on the depth chart. And if I don't get Woody Marks, maybe I'm taking Dameon Pierce as a last round guy. The key is if I can get 2 parts of that Houston running back group at value past pick 100,
Right.
I can take 2 shots at that on any given week. Like
Well,
I would say,
this is what I'm looking at. Mixon, Brian Robinson, Benson. I don't have Connor in this league. Bigsby. I don't have his match. Stevenson, Ramadre, Eckler. So if I don't take Mixon, I'm looking at Eckler or Stevenson.
and where are you with,
Or I'm dropping all the way down to
yeah,
grabbing Ray Davis or Marks.
and where are you with your running back situation now
I
anyway?
got Henry, Kamara, and JCM. I probably got a little
You're,
aggressive in the
it's all
ninth
right.
round, JCM.
I'd take that shot right now. I'd take the shot as high as 8th round on JCM.
Well, I got a little aggressive,
I'll
but
take a shot. I,
so now I've got Mixon or that rogues gallery I just named you. I could
Yeah,
share this league if you want to look a little
yeah,
deeper.
let's take a look at it because I'd like to look a little bit deeper at
Okay.
your whole roster situation. But
This,
my gut tells me that
yeah,
anytime after 10th round,
yeah,
I'm starting to look at him. I'm going,
yeah.
okay, I'll take a shot there. And that's the thing is I did just take him, by the way, uh, in a league
Mm-hmm.
where I was in a similar situation. I was like, okay,
Ooh.
this late, you're going to give me a shot at this guy. I'll take that
The
shot.
only fly in the ointment, and I hadn't even looked at wide receivers yet because I was just focused. Godwin is right there as well. Ooh,
Ooh,
that's boy, I don't like that because
yeah,
that makes me
that's
greedy. I want both. In other words, trouble is I've got like 12 picks before I'm up again. So I got one bite. I, I like the taste of Godwin better, so we may be wasting our mixing discussion, but I'm gonna let you look anyway.
yeah,
Uh,
and I just had a league where I
yeah,
just did exactly what I just described.
yeah,
12-9, I
yeah,
took Joe Mixon.
yeah,
13-4, I
yeah,
came back with Woody Marks.
yeah. And I could Marks is still there. So here I got Lamar, Henry, Kamara, JCM. I got him at 8. Okay, I thought 9. Jefferson, Devona Smith, Diggs, and Addison and Andrews. So I got my
Wow.
nice quarterback stack and tight end. I really like that.
And you got a good solid foursome at wide receiver. I love Diggs this year, and you got him in the 7th.
Yep.
You got Addison in the 9th. That's fabulous because
Well, he's
Jordan,
got Jefferson, so I kind of back him up. If he gets
yeah,
hurt,
you're
Addison's coming on.
you're in good shape. I love the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews stack because when Andrews, first of all, Andrews doesn't have bad weeks when he's healthy.
No.
And so if you back him up, you're
Yeah.
set. And now you're getting twice his points
Right.
with Lamar. So
Right.
I like that. I like that strategy at
Mhm.
at tight end quarterback. If you can stack up a guy who scores a lot of touchdowns and Andrew stays healthy, he's a great red zone target.
And nobody's going to take it likely.
No, no,
So I could
no,
even,
you're fine.
last pick off the board, I could grab him as a third tight end if I wanted to cover any kind of injury and
Yeah,
still
and
have the stack.
yeah, how ironic that you just got the same Jefferson Smith wide receiver combo, and we both got them 107 and 507.
Well,
That shows that shows the strategy and the data sometimes
that
comes
shows
back
two
around.
losers going down with the ship, Dennis. That's another way to look at it.
It's a possibility, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I like this. Let's go up and look at the running back situation
Okay,
here in round 10, other than
okay.
Mixon.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, here's if I had CMC, I would probably grab Robinson, but now,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
I mean, yeah.
that to me is a fluff
Like I
pick at
said,
this
I
point.
see Eckler,
Yeah.
or I'm
So
down to Davis or
yeah.
Marks or I mean, I'm not strong on Ramondre.
No, I'm not either. Um,
I mean,
again,
I'd take him if he fell.
Ramondre, I would usually only take
The
this
only reason
year.
I would take Eckler over Mixon would be to back up JCM, just to
Yeah,
have the running and the passing side. But
and
I
that's not
just
a
think Eckler is going to give you, say, 6 weeks. So he's okay. I feel like his cost is about what he's going to give you. In other words,
and the
I'm not right now. I'm not like, ooh, he's a bargain. He's not a bargain.
no,
He's
no.
priced about where he needs to be.
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at that. And I would put if I had Travion Henderson on my roster, then
Yes,
Stevenson
then
goes
I would.
ahead of Eckler.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
but otherwise they're very dependent on roster build at that
Yeah.
point.
So I'm
I
thinking Mixon, or like I said, I didn't look at that Godwin's just jumping out. I don't mind Reed,
uh,
but Godwin seems, and then Ayuk later. I mean,
yes.
that just seems like that would be a nice, because Ayuk will fall and just, the build is the same way. If Henry and Kamara stay healthy, then I can bounce back and forth when I flex with the
Oh
wide
yeah.
receivers if I
Yep.
got Godwin.
Yep.
And I'm finding that that's what's fallen into my lap, is that kind of shift in the build to where usually I like another strong RB, but it seems like it's going to be the value RBs after round 11. That's where this train is heading without Mixon.
Yeah, and here's the thing is Mixon I might take the chance on Godwin at this pick.
Yeah, you love
Mix
Godwin.
Mixon just fell to me at 12-9.
Yeah, that's
So what
really,
if Mixon falls to you at 11
and he
and then
comes
you
and I can
and
pick
then
him
you
next.
could
Then I'm greedy
yeah,
because Ayuk may fall.
you well you will fall several
Yeah,
more rounds. But what I'm
yeah.
saying is you could take Godwin at 10
And then Mixon at
and
11, maybe.
Mixon at 11 and maybe come back with Marks at 12 and Ayuk might still be there at
Yeah,
13.
that could
That's the
be
crazy
kind of
thing.
the dominoes. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Godwin, Dennis. And I'm probably, like I said, right now, Godwin again is going to make me a lot of money, or I'm going to be wounded if he doesn't do right. And I'm going to be like I was last season. I'm going to,
But
you know,
but you
I,
got him much earlier last season.
yes, I
Is
did. I paid,
but
paid.
but he also paid off for 6 weeks
Yes,
before he
he
got hurt.
did.
And that's the thing that we've got to stop worrying about
Yeah,
is we've got to play. Is there going to be a 6 to 10 week stretch of the season
yeah.
where you're going to have a healthy Godwin? And right now, I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes on both Godwin and Ayuk.
I get a
That you're going to
feeling
have
that he
six
might
six
show
to
up
ten
on the
weeks.
fourth week,
He
and you
well
know,
the fact that Godwin was is now here we are on Saturday. Okay, so we're recording this on Saturday, August 23rd. On Tuesday, by Tuesday,
yeah,
teams have to be cut down to 53.
yeah.
The beat writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said that because of other injuries, Jalen McMillan is going on IR. So he is going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season, guaranteed. He had a bad concussion, that neck injury, plus the concussion was enough that they said we're shutting him down. So that obviously moves Egbuka up in my rankings. But what it also does is it says if Godwin makes that 53,
Mm-hmm.
they expect him to play by week 4.
Yep.
And if they expect him to play by week 4,
Mm-hmm.
that's about the most optimistic news that you could have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ayuk is probably not coming back until week 6 to 8. But Godwin, if he makes the 53, and right now on Saturday, 3 days before cuts are due, the story is that he's going to make the 53. And if that's the case, he's going to be inactive maybe for the first 2 weeks, but they wouldn't do that. They would
Yeah.
not put him on the active squad
Yeah.
if they thought he was going to be out for more than 4 weeks. There's no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me kind of feel that week 3 or 4, he could be back.
Mm-hmm.
And that also complicates the situation with Egbuka who I
Hmm.
who I think his ADP got a little too expensive. It's risen a little too high.
Hmm.
Still a great player that I love, and I've got a lot of him in early drafts because I was getting him 3 rounds later, and 3 rounds later he was a great deal. And I even have a few teams where I got him and I got Godwin.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of deals that I like being in that situation. Godwin might be the pick here. Here's the story. Do you think Godwin or Mixon is more likely to make it to your next pick?
I think Mixon.
I agree with you.
Yep.
And that's why I say I might be tempted. Plus, look at your team.
Yeah.
Look at your team. Running back wise, you got your top two running backs. You
Yep.
don't need nobody's getting Henry and Kamara out of those top two spots, right?
Nope.
And your first three wide receivers are in your starting lineup every week
Yes.
to
Yes.
start. So that leaves one flex position right now.
And
And
that,
that, yeah.
yeah.
So, and you're going to get somebody else cheap later who can plug and play.
All right.
I I like the Godwin pick here because just like Addison, you can kind of wait a couple weeks. Like
Yeah.
Addison won't be there week 1,
Nope.
but he'll be back week 4.
Nope.
So that gives you another player by week 4 that will be in consideration for your starting lineup.
Yep.
But yeah, I like this situation because I think JCM is a solid pick, especially if you protect him later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Godwin pick here. I think Mixon's gonna fall.
Yep. I picked Godwin. Yep. I did it. And there we go.
And
That was
and
good.
yeah, and there's a team where you're going to need, in addition to like if you can get Ayuk late, also it gives you emerging players late in the season, but you're gonna need a week 1 wide receiver just in case
Yep.
on that team. But I, otherwise, you're probably going to be okay. You can weather those first few weeks. You're going to have a strong team once you get to weeks 4, 5, 6, and on.
Hmm.
You're going to have a lot of tough decisions to make
Mm.
at wide receiver. But my encouragement to people is to be bold. Once you get to round 10, avoid the ordinary picks.
With 10 bench spots, folks.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is the key. We're playing in leagues that have 10 bench spots.
Which
You
is
may,
nice. I don't like short
oh,
benches. I don't
short
like fast drafts and short benches. Don't like it.
short benches change the way you play. In these leagues, we are hoarding talent. We want as many great players as we can get. Because if we've got the more great players we've got, the better off we are. We don't have to worry about availability week 1. We can worry about playing for the long game. Because in these leagues too, folks, first place, a lot of money.
Yeah, it's all or none.
Second place just gets an entry,
Yeah, it's all
so
or none.
it's an all
So,
or none.
yeah,
It's
I like
it
that.
it's a top heavy league,
Yep.
and I do like that. I like it. Now in Dynasty, I don't like that as much. Dynasty, I like that we pay off till
Yeah.
3 and sometimes 4 players.
Yeah.
Um, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
In redraft, I like the all or nothing because we are not playing in 1 or 2 leagues. We are playing in a lot of leagues, and we will win our fair share of leagues with good strategy.
Agree. I think the deep benches, Dennis, over time, you get, and I'm just going to ballpark this. I don't have data. Half the league is kind of loosey goosey later, and
Yes.
they're not really building and thinking. They're just kind of, I don't know, whatever they saw on TV or what somebody said or some funny draft sheet. So I really think you're only playing against five serious people hogging the good players. So I think with a short bench, everybody's teeth are sharper, and there's just not a lot of hamburger to go around with the pack of hyenas. Where this way there's some loose steaks hanging around, and people are just, yeah, don't feel like going over there. I'm tired. I got plenty of bench space. I'll find somebody. They're living on hopes and dreams and not having an adaptive view and a building viewpoint. And so I think you have an advantage. I know the odds say 1 out of 12, but I always figure the natural odds for me is 1 out of 6. And that
Yes,
usually means I'm going to make a lot of the playoffs,
correct.
70, 80%. And, sometimes last year was about 60 something percent, but I just feel like over time, I'm going to make a lot of the playoffs. And, at that point, you could get Gurleyed, or you could have the Gurley to Gurley everybody else. I mean, it could get crazy at that point, or the Kamara have a 50-point game, and it can get nutty. But that's all we're doing is we're basing our time on trying to make the playoffs too, people. But I think people get
Yes.
loosey goosey with too much. The
No,
the weaker players just kind of, yeah, I don't really care. Let me sip a beer or 20. Let me sip a beer or 20 here, Dennis. And I'll
so
grab somebody. I'll grab some quarterback. There'll be somebody available. I need a body here. So
there you go. And
anyway, I'm
speaking of
mad,
needing a
Dennis.
body, I'm sharing here on the video
Yeah, I see
the
that.
screen again because I am back on the clock in another league.
Yeah,
And ironically, it's the league that I just mentioned where I got Joe Mixon in the 12th,
yeah,
got Woody Marks in the 13th. And
yeah.
if you notice my strategy
Oh, you
here,
got Mixon in the 12th. Nice. I
yes. So I got
like that. Yeah, I'm
Mixon in the
sorry. I
12th, Woody Marks in the 13th. So I've got Houston covered here, more than likely. Okay. And I don't even need to start them because I've got Gibbs, Kyron Williams, James Conner
So
as my top
your
three.
build is to the running back, and your wide receivers. You're
But
kind
look at
of,
but look at the wide receivers I was able to get at
yeah,
value.
at
I
value.
got McConkey, McMillan, the rookie
And
out of
Ryan.
Carolina, and Rashi Rice.
Yeah, yeah,
So and at quarterback, I doubled up,
yeah. I see
got
that.
Dak in the ninth, and came back with Bo Nix in the 11th.
Yeah,
So I'm feeling great at quarterback. I got Kelsey
yeah,
in the sixth.
yeah.
So
If you could
maybe I
grab
reached,
Ferguson, you could do a stack.
yeah, so I could do that. So let's take a look at where I am. Obviously, I could use additional wide receiver help. Don't think I need quarterback help. Let's take a look at the running backs that are available. None of them really wow me.
If
Okay.
I had Henry, I'd be looking at Mitchell.
Yeah. I've got,
Thinking, not saying
yes.
taken. There's
Yes.
Chris.
Correct. Yeah. So I got
Maybe going
Chris
a little
Rodriguez is
higher.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's there. Brashard Smith is there.
yeah. I just took him.
There's nothing that really excites me though at running back. There's nothing that jumps out at me and says, "Oh, you got to take this guy."
Yeah,
At wide receiver, ooh, there's some interesting
yeah,
choices here because again, I need just that depth for whenever Rice goes on suspension. Okay.
yeah,
My top two guys are going to be in there every week.
yeah.
Rice will be in there for the first 4 weeks at least. Then who knows what's going to happen with him. So I'm looking at, okay, who do I have? Who's available that's going to score me some points if I need a wide receiver? And there's one guy that stands out here to me that might surprise you.
Surprised me.
Romeo Dobbs from Green Bay, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
What if?
Is he even going to make the team?
What if Romeo Dobbs gets traded to a good situation? What if he gets traded to a team like the Jets that do not have a WR2 type? What if he gets traded somewhere?
Yeah.
Then he becomes a huge, huge potential upside value guy. We're talking 13th round here. We are not talking, I'm sorry, we're talking 14th round here. We are not talking any locks in here, right? There's no locks in this group. Trey Harris has some upside, young rookie from the Chargers. I already have Ladd McConkey on the board too. Something happens to McConkey, maybe Harris is more valuable. Kyle Williams is an intriguing pick, but again, a rookie. Here's the thing. Dobbs might fall another round because nobody's thinking of Dobbs anyway. Let's take a look at what's going on at tight end, because I could use a backup tight end. Ferguson's gone.
I like
nobody
Otten,
here,
but I'm not sure
you like
I'd
Otten,
take him.
but I'll take him later.
Or Waller.
I'll take Waller later.
Those two.
If Ferguson was still on the board this late, I would have jumped at him. But as you can see, it's been a while since he's been off the board. So I'm looking at this and going, and Brenton Strange, my other tight end that I like, is gone. Pitts is gone. I'd take a shot at Pitts at this round if he was still on the board. But those guys are all gone. I'm ruling out tight end. I'm set at quarterback, but Jordan Love is still there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Do I go triple at quarterback? That's the only other question. Wide receiver, I like Trey Harris here, but because I think Romeo Dobbs will fall another round. And if he doesn't, I like Thornton and Bryant as late guys as well.
I think later, Troy Franklin might be a role since you got Knicks.
Yes. And
just a roll of the dice.
Yep. I like that because he's actually getting some talk out of camp.
Yep. That's what I mean, Pat Bryant, supposedly, but I like Franklin because he's cheaper.
Yeah, and I'll take a shot at some of these guys because, again, running back.
What about Lockett that deep? He could get you 2-3 weeks. He might be
he might be a good parting gift at the end of round. And Roman Wilson from Pittsburgh is another guy.
Mitchell,
Yeah, there's some guys here that I might take super late because they might
so
pay
you're
off.
Going Dobbs and hoping for a trade.
I could go Dobbs and hope for a trade, or go Harris and go safe. Or I could go Harris and then I come back with Dobbs next round, because I don't think anybody's taking Dobbs. Yeah.
I think Harris, Dennis, and then that's Dobbs drops.
Yep. That's my move. So see, again, folks, this is how you got to talk a draft through.
Yeah.
And I like this situation because now I've got Harris to back up McConkey. Yeah. And so now I've got some flexibility here. These top three are starting. Yeah. Okay. And these top three are starting. I don't care about week one. I got week one in the bag. Yeah. And then I've got Houston backups. I've got Connor backed up with Benson. And I got Travis Etienne sitting out there going, does he or doesn't he hold that starting job? But the key is I got my three and I got my three. And I don't need to do anything. I don't need Trey Harris to do anything until Rashee Rice is suspended or Ladd McConkey gets hurt.
Yep.
Getting McConkey in the third round, and following up with McMillan in the fourth for a heavy running back build, I was okay with that.
Yeah.
It's like having Gibbs and Kyron Williams to start my team is
Yeah.
James Conner as my third running back is pretty nice.
Yep.
I like that situation. And then I also have a elite tight end in Kelsey,
Yep.
who I think worst case Kelsey plays back to last year. If he plays back to last year, that's about a sixth or seventh round pick.
Yeah.
And that's where I
He's
took him.
value.
So, but
Yep. I
again,
like it.
folks, this is how you got to talk your way through. Why didn't I take Wandale Robinson? Because Neighbors is a target thief, you know. And I also think
Mondale will probably be on the waiver wire if something
he could
happens to
fall.
Neighbors. You
He could
could
fall
have,
again. Yeah,
yeah.
he could fall again. So these are my guys that I've got left over here. Now, the way I do my queue at wide receiver and running back is very similar. I put guys over here that I want to make sure I didn't pass over.
Hmm.
And if I passed over, I passed over for a good reason. And I did have Trey Harris on that group.
Hmm.
So it's a case of, and I didn't have Dobbs on that group, by the way,
Hmm.
but that was a player that jumped up to me at me because of the trade rumors. Now, next round, I'll go through that whole process again. I may
Hmm.
take Kyle Williams. My ranking in the queue doesn't really mean anything. They were
Yeah.
just, I haven't really reordered this queue yet because these players are all in that similar tier to me. They're
Right.
all in this wannabe take a shot at kind
Right.
of role at wide receiver. There's nobody in this group that I think is a slam dunk. Gotta have on my team guy. Um, because I don't think any of these guys are, necessarily have the upside to really take over the job. But there's guys like Ayanomar from Tennessee. There's guys like Adonai Mitchell from Indianapolis that I'm also intrigued about. Roman Wilson, intrigued about him. They're all in this same group. And there's probably another guy who, well, maybe he's gone. Take a look here real quick and see. I think he's already gone. Yep, Joshua Palmer just went in the 13th round. He's another guy that I would have in this group that I would take a shot at
Yeah.
late. And
Yeah.
again, looking at a different strategy once we get past round 10, it's only upside that I care about.
And why don't you stop sharing and I'm gonna put you back on my helper. That's kind of where we're at. This is draft weekend. Why not? Let's talk some drafts here. I don't think
and
people
and
do
I
this
think
enough.
and I think it's the best way to show you how our better than zero and adaptive style works.
Yeah. So I'm deep here, Dennis. 17th round. So we
Ooh, I
hadn't had
love
one
this.
this deep here.
Love it. Love it.
So I got Jackson and Goff to back him up. Uh Bijan,
Oh, you already,
Jacobs,
yeah,
Connor, Aaron Rodgers, Trey
you already
Benson,
got,
Woody
you got
Marks,
Benson. Yeah, you're in good
Rashad
shape here.
Smith, Rice, Golden, Samuel, Ayuk, and Shaheed
Oh, I love that
Andrews
wide
and
receiver combo.
yeah, Andrews and Otten here. So a little weak on wide receivers after a few weeks. I'm hoping Golden at least, can get me 6 weeks. I don't know. I'm hoping Samuel's better than we think. I'm hoping Ayuk comes back, in about 6 weeks. By the time Rice dies away, and I got
Yeah.
Shaheed as a floor, he could take it to the house any play,
Oh
kind
yeah.
of. So I got a little aggressive with my
And
running backs here,
and,
but
and Shaheed could have some great junk time
yes,
production this year because I'm not sold on that Saints defense being all that great.
yeah.
I think they could be mid pack.
So I'm thinking that I need to focus on wide receivers first. I will go to RBs. Just Dennis, take a look. Anything I mean, I see some names, but nothing that's like,
Yeah,
man, I gotta have, I
Mon
see,
Jay from Chicago, if he was healthy,
yeah, I
would
know
be
he's in the
would be
mix.
knocking on the door, but I don't think, I don't know. He's a long shot. Damian Pierce is a long shot.
Miller, he just
Sanders is a
hasn't.
long shot.
Yeah,
None of these guys
nothing.
really, no, they
I
don't excite
liked
me.
Lloyd, but he got injured.
Correct.
So I'm
Correct.
wondering maybe Wilson down the road, Mitchell down the road. I have been picking up
Trevor Etienne
Trevor,
is a good pick. Yeah.
but not this round. I
No,
would
no,
love to
no,
see
no,
him the
no, no,
18th round.
no,
I'll
no.
probably circle back to him.
He's a parting gift,
Yeah.
right? Or
So
in
now,
these
yeah.
leagues, folks, you got to take a running back. I mean, a defense and a kicker. So 18th round is the parting gift running backs usually.
So I'm left with some roll the dice. There's Franklin,
One guy's screaming out at me.
one guy
One guy is screaming
who
out at me.
okay,
This isn't even close in
okay,
this situation.
okay,
Uh, Kyle Williams is screaming out
yeah.
at me here, and I'll tell you why.
Well, he's dropped.
Drake May, I think, is going to be decent at quarterback. He's got a live arm. He can throw it around the yard. There's no doubt that Diggs is the number one wide receiver to open the season with New England. But Diggs has got Father Time chasing him.
Yep.
Father Time is going to catch him one of these years.
Yep.
Kyle Williams is the kind of receiver that New England doesn't have right now, nor and didn't have last year. If Kyle Williams had come in as a rookie last year, he would have been the dominant guy on that New England offense at wide receiver. Love Kyle Williams in this situation. He's nothing but upside.
Yeah.
I
And you know
mean, we're
what?
talking
I
round
mean,
17.
Dennis, I don't need a lot of talking here. I'm in the 17th round. I'm thinking Trevor.
And you're backed up at quarterback already.
Oh, yeah. Goff.
And you're backed up at tight end. You've got
Otten.
Andrews and Otten.
Yeah.
You're in good shape at
Yeah.
both positions.
I think I'm competitive to make it to the playoffs here.
Yes.
Bijan sure anchors this.
Oh my goodness. Your running backs are, again, you got James Conner as your 3.
As my 3.
You can actually open the season with your top 4 running backs.
And Dennis, I did grab Benson.
You grab Benson.
And love Woody Marks.
You
Thank
got
you very
the Woody
much.
Marks and Brashard Smith.
And Smith.
You are protected with again, you got 2 of my 5 magical.
I know it. And I love magical
10th rounds.
I love Dennis Magic,
because
he's like Dennis. If you're playing his league, his real name should be Evil Leprechaun, and he will take your damn pot of gold, and you'll be like, "Oh no, who is this guy?"
And here's the thing, folks. When I
let
say,
me tell you who this guy is. You see those eyes? That is seeing the gold. He's looking past your weak ass team, and he's taking your money, and you don't even know what happened. That's those evil eyes staring at you.
That was me. That was me coming back from the trade show yesterday with six teams on the clock and one team with 12 minutes to go. No, here's the thing. When I say magical picks, and I'm talking about my 5 running backs plus Ray Davis to take after round 11 and later, I'm not expecting all 6 of those guys to pay off. That would be the ultimate. Like if all 6 of those guys paid off, and I got all 6 of them, then it's party time. What I'm saying is, out of those 6, 2 or 3 could emerge at some point in the season. And again, as I said, I look at a fantasy football season as the last race for a guy, using the horse racing analogy. But when I look at the season as a whole, the fantasy football season as a whole, I'm looking at it's almost as if in pari-mutuel wagering, you could wager who is winning at the quarter pole, who is winning at the half, who is winning at 3/4 and who is winning at the finish. We do the who's winning at the finish thing, but I look at the fantasy football season as 4/4 of a football game.
Yep.
And every 4 weeks is part of that season. And then you've got, of course, week 17 is the ultimate final game of the year. But if I can have a guy that crosses over and is an effective player in my starting lineup for just 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm getting him from the 11th round on, I'm gonna take that bet every single time. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get them all to pay off for the whole season, but every single one of those players you take after round 11 and forward, you just want them to hit your scorecard 4 to 6 weeks. And if they can do that, they were a valuable pick. I don't want a guy who's averaging 6 to 7 points a week, plays all 17 weeks, and finishes 28th at the position. That didn't do me any good. I want guys that when they get the opportunity, they can cash out with a week that's at or above median performance. I want 12 plus points 4 to 6 weeks. If I can get that, then it was a successful pick that late in the draft. And Kyle Williams, who you just selected, he's got a shot at doing that. And there's reasons that without Diggs getting hurt that he could emerge to do that. But there's reasons if Diggs goes down, then all of a sudden he's gold. Potential gold. Yeah. Again, you're picking round 14 players.
And that was round 17.
That was, yeah. You're not going to hit every pick that late in the draft.
Yeah. And like I said, right now, pick 18, I'm looking at ETN from Carolina, just in case Chuba plays out later or later in the playoffs, they decide to rest. I mean, if Carolina's in it, they're going to play him. But let's say Carolina's not in it, they may try out their rookie a little bit. You never know. I mean, but at the 18th pick that he could give me, during the playoffs, be a flex-worthy guy at 18, that seems sweet, Dennis.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Injuries happen. So I like that opportunity.
Yeah. Have we wore out?
I think we've beaten this.
We've never done this many drafts. Of course, I've got 2 more on the clock right now. But anyway, hopefully the season's starting, in 2 weeks. So I'm finishing up some database builds, just kind of let people know that will be for next year. I've got a bunch of ideas for our expo poster. We've had some people reach out, so I'm hoping that we will build a nice group of 6 to 10. And we're going to be hard to walk past now, Dennis. If we got 6 to 10 posters, it's going to be hard for people to ignore us. Some of the people are ignoring, like, I don't have time to do math. I hate math, but, we got 6 or 7. I mean, it's like, well, what's going on over there? So I'm hoping there's this critical mass for next expo, or I hope we're building that way. So, thanks again, Bob Long, giving us that chance. And we're going to try to make you proud, Bob. We may be irritating you if we bring too many in, so you may kick us outside or something in the heat, and that's fine. We'll do a puppet show with data outside if I gotta. Whatever I gotta do to push the scientific method and get Dennis calmed down. His crazy eyes, they just stare at me at night now. I'm drafting. What would Dennis do? And all those equations back here. Always feel like there's some secrets back there. See, way back in the back, I've said before, Dennis, there's that KC back there. You see, I didn't plan that. That's the fates or the computer, the overlord of the computer. He's teasing us. But there's KC. Maybe it's Taylor Swift is controlling the computers. I don't know. But I see KC back here on your bulletin board with
Oh
all your
yeah.
equations. So
It's crazy. It
anyway,
is
any
crazy.
any parting thoughts?
Well, the only thing we want to mention as
Yeah.
we're leaving is we have always featured our weekly matchups in fantasy football and DFS and
Yeah.
betting. We are going to actually be doing that as a new show called the Data Lab that we will be doing on a different platform,
Well,
folks. We will
you
be
think you
working.
think they decided they'll have us? I hadn't
They
really heard.
decided, yeah, they decided they'll
Did
have
they?
us. So
Are we
yes, so
getting
we're getting
Saturdays then?
we're getting a thumbs up for a Saturday. So
Okay.
we'll be working with our good friends from the sports affiliation. I will also be appearing on a Tuesday night show called Snap, Crackle, and Pop. I'm Pop. So that's
Okay.
kind
You're
of
Pop.
fitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Pop.
Pop Mitchelson. Get out of my yards, kid.
There
Is
you
that the kind
go.
of Pop you're talking about?
That's it. No,
The angry old
it's
man down the street. See,
it's
Dennis, look at that. Somebody just rang my bell at midnight, and I'm gonna kill somebody here. I'm gonna throw this football at them.
oh my goodness. But
But you're
yeah,
gonna be the
so we'll
Pop,
be
huh?
well, yeah, I'm the Pop.
Yeah,
Greg Kellogg
yeah,
is the Crackle.
yeah.
The Snap is our buddy Rick from over there
Okay, okay.
at the sports affiliation. I have been dubbed the Pop. My job is to find the
Yeah,
sleepers in
yeah.
fantasy football each week, and
Not to
I'll
put us to sleep, but
not
actually
to put us to
fine.
sleep. And
Okay.
that show's only a 5 minute segment for me.
Oh
It's a
my
15
goodness.
minute show in
No, you're
total.
not going to be constrained for five
If I
minutes.
can make
Dennis,
I actually did my segment in four
no,
minutes
you
and
didn't.
45 seconds week
Oh my
one.
goodness.
So we've tested.
Dennis,
So
you're going to have a strong bit to chew on because you know you're going to want to go and go and go.
oh, it's tough. It's going to be tough to hold me down to 5 minutes. But no, we're
Dennis,
excited. We're
okay.
excited to expand our work with the guys from Sports Affiliation,
Yeah,
JC and Joe and Rick and Greg Kellogg and
yeah. And some
Iggy.
of those other people we hadn't
Oh,
met, we just hadn't met you yet. So,
we've met a few of them. I know Wendy Early. I've met at events, other events in the past.
okay.
She's from northern part of the great state of Indiana. Nice lady.
Great.
So yeah, there's people within that sports affiliation group, which is growing by leaps and bounds. You got to go check out the sports affiliation.
At the
Um,
expo, after you see our posters, go and check those guys
yeah,
out.
fantastic group, and
And what
check
about
them out.
Iggy? Don't
Oh,
forget Iggy.
oh, Iggy is the best. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's Iggy and JC have teamed up to put together a great lineup, and then there's us. So we'll be glad to be
and then
part of
there's
this.
us.
And then
Yeah,
there's us.
pull out the grumpy old men.
But we'll be part of the sports
Okay.
affiliation going
Yeah.
forward, and that's a group that we really think the world of, folks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're
Nice
pleased to
folks.
be working with them. So head on over to the Science of Fantasy Football. I've got some previews
Yeah,
for
the
each of the
editor's been
teams.
slacky here, but he'll try to get them out
They'll be
this
getting
week.
up. I should have the NFC over to the
And you
editor's desk,
and you
and
owe me one more AFC, I think.
I think I
Double
might.
check.
Yeah, I'll double check, but I'll make sure that the editor's got all the AFC and NFC. So
Okay.
all of those will be there to check out here as you head into the final week of preparation
Yeah.
before the fantasy football season. And of course, come on back here next week for another edition of the Science of Fantasy Football.
Get to work, folks. That was good, Dennis.
That was fun. That was
I've
fun.
got to
These drafts that pop up out of
boy, yeah,
nowhere,
we
they're
had some
fun.
good drafts. We got
Yeah.
I got to make, I guess, a slide or something. I don't know how for us to, so that people can figure out the daps.
Yes.
And I've
Yes.
got to work on that a little bit,
Yeah.
couple weeks. And, the season's coming. But I got to work on
Seasons
that. And,
season is going to be here before we know it. It's
yeah.
crazy. I am done starting drafts.
Oh,
So
Dennis, I'm still in the
I
middle of
have
mine.
I have hit my there's only two more drafts that will start up.
Well,
I've been invited, we have been invited to a league among it is called, what is
uh-oh.
this? What are they calling this? It is called, and now it's missing from my list. Maybe I got kicked out.
They done pulled the
It's
invite.
definitely a possibility that I got kicked out. Now let's see. They're calling this. Oh, here it is. The Writers United League.
Oh, I don't know
So
what that is.
I have no idea, but it was the other 11 people are all people that produce content,
Good.
and we're going to go head to head against 11 people who
Yeah.
are regularly participating, and they recruited me.
Yeah.
And of course, I named our team Science of Fantasy Football. It's a 4 hour draft, so
Okay.
we'll be.
When is that happening?
It starts in 21 hours, so they'll
So
be
we're
going on.
talking what
It's pretty much mimics FPPC. It's
what platform is it on?
it's on Sleeper. I will
Okay,
share it
well
with
I have
you. I'll
Sleeper.
make sure. Yeah, I'll share it with you. I'll
Yeah.
make sure that I can
Yeah,
do that.
put me on there and I can help you
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever
What
or
is
hurt you.
your
I don't know.
yeah? Let's see.
Something.
Select
I don't know what I'm
co-owners.
doing.
What is your Twitter handle
Well,
again?
Dennis,
Or
the
not Twitter? Your
sleeper handle.
sleeper. Yeah.
Okay, I am. It's weird. I had to get another one because it was strange. Let's see, my profile is Professor Fantasy One, all words, all, no spaces, no hyphens. And it wouldn't let me do my other name, which I think I had a hyphen or some crap. So
Okay. So Professor Fantasy
copy
One.
it's capital P, Professor lowercase, capital F, Fantasy One,
Okay.
lowercase.
I'm
And so
sending
the
you the
P and the F.
I'm sending you the request right now.
Here it is. And let's
So go
see,
ahead
do
and
I
yeah,
trust you? I don't know. You're suspicious.
I'm very
Let's
suspicious.
see, mock draft. No, let's see. Where? Oh, co-owner. What did
Yeah.
I do? Writers United. So
Yep.
let's see. Do I hit that button?
Yep.
Yes.
So we have seven. Yeah. So we have seven bench
4 hours per
spots.
pick.
7 bench spots. Otherwise, it's just like
17
FPPC.
round.
Yeah.
17. Is it tied in premium? No.
It is. Let's see. It is not tight end premium. That's the only difference. And it's 6 points for a passing touchdown in this
Yeah.
league. Otherwise, everything else is pretty close to FPPC scoring, including the defense and the kickers.
Or we got draft seven.
We
Seven.
got pick 7
Pick
is where we're
seven.
going to be.
Okay. Well,
I
I
believe that is
am
solid.
available tomorrow in between
Yep.
everything else I'm
Yep. We'll
doing.
be
Yeah.
we'll be
I'll
kibitzing on
let you
every pick.
lead, but if you need me,
Yeah, we'll kibitz on every pick.
yeah.
And then I've got a football guys bowl that I'm supposed to be in. I don't know if that's a fast or
Uh-oh.
slow draft, but that starts tomorrow as well. So
Well,
it'll be
I'm a
interesting.
text away. I want you to
Yep.
win out
Yep. Yep.
two
Yep.
and whatnot. Okay, I think we've done our after show here.